here. This is going to be Monday Night Football Plays week number 6. As you can see, I'm in a different room. This is my son's room, um, but it's just quiet in here, no dogs. Um, anyways, week 6 of the Sunday night games went pretty good, right? I think I did. I think the only one I missed on the ATS games was Washington. They were getting 6. They lost by 7. That was a really good game. I think I won all the rest of them that I put out here, plus all the interception picks I told you all to play. So hopefully you guys got on those. They all came through, every one of them. Um, Today's matchup is the Bills going to the New York Jets. Um, it's not a great matchup outside of the AFC East, right? Like, I don't really feel like anyone thinks either of these teams are going to make the Super Bowl. But this is for first place in the AFC East. They're both 3-2. They both have some pretty rough losses. They both have some really good wins. The Jets just fired their head coach, demoted their offensive coordinator. I don't know how much their offensive coordinator actually does with Aaron Rodgers there, but it's going to be a different play caller. And a lot of that I don't really know how much that matters with Aaron Rodgers, because I think he calls a lot of his own stuff at the line. I don't think he just runs. What's up, Googs? I don't think he just runs what's called, really. So I don't really know how much the play caller matters. So I fully expect the Jets to still score roughly what they've been scoring, around 20 points a game. The wild card here is the Bills, right? It's not the Jets. I think we know what we get from the Jets. I think we know we're going to get good pass D, mediocre run D, and 20 points a game from the offense. I don't know that we see any more than that out of them, no matter how good or bad the Jets are. Yeah, so I want to talk about. I'm betting the primetime interceptions. Um, I'm betting all of them for the rest of the season. I have all through the season here. I look at that as a bet that goes all throughout the whole season. And then at the end of the season, it's kind of its own standalone thing. How well did it do? Last year, like we said, was around 75%. I haven't calculated what it is this year, but it's probably pretty close to that. It's probably 60, 75% in between that range. You just bet it every primetime game, and it comes through. It really does. You may not think about it, but if you just bet all the interception props for every player yesterday that started at quarterback, you probably only missed 3 or so. I think only a couple guys didn't throw an interception. So, and it's not even good or bad quarterbacks. They all throw picks, guys. They all throw interceptions. So, um, the prime time just seems to matter a little more for that. Maybe it's the matchups. I'm not sure, but it just seems to work out that way. And so, in back to the game at hand here, the Bills are actually favored by like 1.5 in this one on the road. Now, I don't know how much of a road game it is at the Jets. I'm sure there'll be tons of Bills fans there. The Bills are definitely more popular than the Jets. I would say overall, Aaron Rodgers being there definitely helps with the Jets' popularity, but Josh Allen has a pretty big fan base. The Bills Mafia travels well, so I wouldn't expect there to be much of a home field advantage. That field is notoriously bad, so expect some injuries. Uh, any life advice for someone young? What's up, Jeremy Random? I'm guessing you're either A, not young, or uh, don't gamble. Yeah, that's good advice. I only have like one really good piece of advice, like one really good one, and that is to never get in any kind of debt. Like, avoid debt. Um, and I'm not saying like a mortgage, because a mortgage is sensible debt, but like, don't get credit cards. Don't go buy stuff on credit, like rent a center. Don't do that. Just don't get in debt. Save your money for things. Pay cash. You'll get better deals. You won't have payments. So that's what if I was going to give one piece of advice to any person that would ever listen to me, I would just say, don't get in like useless debt. Um, don't have credit. There's no reason for that stuff. Stay within your means, and you'll probably end up a really rich person at the end of your life. So Um, debt kills people. Don't smoke or do drugs. Yeah, I mean, those are definitely good ones as well. Um, okay, so find God, sure. All those are good things, but if you're just looking for one single solitary thing to help with your life, I think staying out of debt is as good as anything you can do to help your life forward as an adult. Um, so let's get to this one. The total is 41 and a half, and this is the number that I like. I actually think this goes over this. I don't think the Bills can stop the Jets from moving the football. The Bills have some issues on defense, and Baltimore really exposed them. And the Jets will be able to do the same things Baltimore did by run the ball. So I don't think the Bills will be able to stop the Jets from running the football or moving it all. The over 41 and a half to me is kind of low. So I actually think this goes way over this. I actually think this score gets closer to 50. So that's kind of my favorite play of the day is these over 41 and a half. And the primetime unders haven't mattered this year. Like the last couple of years, primetime unders have been just an automatic. But it's actually kind of been the opposite this year, where a lot of the primetime games have been crazy, right? Crazy scores. So um, that's what I kind of, I that's kind of my favorite play in this one in a game that, in my opinion, doesn't have a lot of good plays. That over, I just feel like and I don't necessarily like the first half over, but I think the game will, because that's only 21 to 20 makes 41, right? So I think the Jets get in the 20s, like 24 to 28. And if the Bills just get to 20, I think it makes it. And as you can see, my lean is toward the Jets. And basically, that's all based in the Bills' weapons on offense versus their defense. The Jets are more talented overall than the Bills. The team is better overall. So if I was going to pick side, I would pick the Jets here. Um, I'm not really fan of a side because I still think that the Jets have their problems, even though their defense on a total yard standpoint gives away few. I think they can be ran on, and I think the Bills will run on them. So another thing I saw in here that I thought was an interesting play was Josh Allen, his passing yards. Hello, Levi. His passing yards are only 198.5. That's less than 200 yards. In a game where I think they're going to be playing from behind a lot, I actually think he gets over this 198. I think he gets to 200 at least in this game. It just seems weird that a Josh Allen passing yards prop would be under 200. So I think that's an overreaction, maybe. So I like the over on Josh Allen's passing yards. Aaron Rodgers is only 215, but in this game, that doesn't surprise me because the Jets might just run the ball because the Bills can't stop it. So it doesn't surprise me. I would avoid the Rodgers side of it, even though he might throw for over that. It's 215 is not a lot. But the over 200 or over 198 for Allen, that's only 100 yards per half. That's not very many at all. So I actually think that's a really good play. One of the plays for Rodgers that I saw was over 1.5 rushing yards. So he only has to run one time basically. Um, and he'll escape a few times a game. He does it 3 or 4 yards to get a first down. We've seen a couple big runs out of him this year. So that over 1.5 rushing yards for Rodgers seems very viable to me. I'm going to bet it just because that just seems like such a, a simple number and a simple cash there. Even just two QB sneaks gets him there, or maybe even one QB sneak. He only has to get to 2 yards. So again, it's a situation where the kneel downs could hurt you in that one, but I like it. I'm going over the 1.5 rushing yards. I'm also betting Josh Allen's rushing yards over 34.5. That's not a lot for Allen. He could very well get that in one run. And the Jets' weakness is their run defense. It's not their pass defense. So I like that as well. So that's really all I like in this game. This isn't one of my favorite games ever to bet. In fact, it's probably one of the worst ones that I've looked at on the season just because there's a lot of unknowns in it. The Bills are still somewhat of an unknown. They're still figuring out their offense. Their defense isn't good, which lends to scoring points, right? The other team's going to score points on them. And so that's why I like the Jets if I was picking a side. But I like the over. I like the over 41.5. I think that's the play. I also like, and what I missed is James Cook to score a touchdown, because I do think when they get down there, they will hand the ball to James Cook. It's plus 115. Um, so, and that's if he plays. He may not even play. Yeah, I mean, I like that under 35.5 longest pass. The one problem with those that I don't like is when a guy could catch a 5-yard pass and run it for the other 30 is the problem with those ones. That I just those that's why I get scared on the unders on those longest passes. I tend to bet the over on those longest passes, just because even if he never airs the ball out like that, it could still just happen on a screen pass, and so I tend to stay away from those, but I don't think he's going to throw the ball a lot like that deep, I, unless it goes to Keon Coleman, right? Shakir is still banged up. I'm not sure if he's playing. So again, it's not one of those situations, but the Jets defense lends to him not throwing a lot of passes deep, and it lends to staying under that. But I have some issues with that because it's not air yards, right? It's not how long it travels in the air. It's literally just what it works out to be. So that's why one of the reasons I kind of stay away from that one, that style of bet. Um, what you guys want to hear a funny stat? This is kind of insane. Josh Allen hasn't thrown an interception this year. He hasn't thrown one single interception this year. For a guy that's kind of known for his interceptions, he's thrown 0. That's a pretty amazing stat. And for a guy that's not known for his interceptions, Aaron Rodgers has thrown 4. Now 3 came in one game, but a lot of times, a lot of years, Aaron Rodgers will only throw 4 all year. So it's kind of an interesting stat. I think Allen throws one today, but yeah, it's just interesting. Allen hasn't thrown a pick. Now he probably has. It might have got called back on a penalty or something, but as of right now, he has no recorded picks on his stat line, which is interesting. And that's really interesting for a guy that's actually known for that. But anyway, so just let's recap what my bets I like in case you guys want to tail me or fade me or whatever you want to do. As of right now, I would suggest not fading me. I've been real hot. College football and pro football, even baseball, I've done pretty well in. Last night I went 2-0 in baseball, and gave out some good advice. If people bet RBIs, they would have got them too. So, so I like the Bills Jets over 41.5. It's probably my favorite play. And I'll list these in orders of my favorite. So Bills Jets is my over 41.5. Probably my favorite play. And my second favorite play is Josh Allen over 198 passing yards. I just under 100 yards per half. I have a hard time believing that that's going to happen, even with a good pass defense. That's just so hard to do. It's just really hard to do. And then my third favorite play would be the Josh Allen rushing yards, because I think he's going to have to run the ball. The lack of weapons, he's going to have to run the ball some. And we might have to wait till the end of the game to get these when he's trying to churn out first downs on maybe the last couple drives. But I do think they get there. And then I like the James Cook touchdown, and then the Rodgers rush. The Rodgers rush could be tricky because if he never has to do it, he may never do it. But it's probably only going to take one run out the backside for 8 yards, and then that's good. And then obviously I bet the interception props. I'm getting better. Thank you. Getting better at picking. That's always the case every year, really, because as you get more data, and there's more data that comes in, it refines it better, and you can pick better. And it's actually the nature of the beast. So as you go on, it should get better because you have more to look at. You have more quality data. You have a better understanding of what's going to happen in these games with these players. So There you go. That's actually probably true for every handicapper ever. Um, but anyway, so that's where I'm at. Hopefully, I didn't get off too much there, and you understood what I was talking about. But again, Bills Jets over 41.5. My favorite play. Thank you. Yeah, it's I don't gotta make money off of it. I did that and it was cool and everything, but I felt bad when I did it. Mostly because when you sell your picks and you're doing bad, it's doubly, right? You're already charging your friends for your information and then you're losing, and it just hurt. I didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling, even though I won a lot as well. Um, I just didn't like it. And to me, it doesn't matter in that way. I make my own money gambling, right? YouTube pays me some money. So it's like, yeah, I get enough. I get enough to give this stuff out for free. I'm going to do the research anyway for myself. Might as well give it out, right? I don't need that extra couple bucks in there. So I do appreciate everyone that did that for me, though. That was cool. It just after last year, I just was like, you know what? I don't need this. I'd rather just do it for free. So that's where I'm at on that. And all the people that charge for them, hey, good for them, and I hope they do really well. Obviously, I've never bought one of their services, so I wouldn't know how they do, but hopefully they do well. All of them say they do. So, but I mean, all of them say they do. So, at some point, they can't all be doing good, right? Especially if they don't have the same plays. So, but I don't really know. I've never bought one of them, so I couldn't tell you. I know a lot of people have, and most of the time they're disappointed with them, not really sure what goes on. But I also don't necessarily advise how much you should bet on each game or each play. Every now and then on my Discord, I tell people that I have a lot more on one thing than another. And that's only when it really fits a bet. When everything lines up, that's when I do that. It's not as often as you might think, definitely not as often as other people. But I do every now and then. Like a couple nights ago, Louisiana Tech was playing someone, and I told everyone, I was like, hey, this is only -4. It should be -20 or whatever I said, 10, 14 or something. And they ended up winning by 30 points or something like that. And I told people that I had more money on that one. But there's just instances where it really lines up. Like this last week with the interception props, right? I put out them interception props because it was rookie quarterbacks going against good defenses. And it was just the nature of the beast that these kids were going to throw picks, and every one of them did, right? All of them threw interceptions because, well, they're supposed to. They're going against good defenses. So, um, again, it is what it is. If you want any more of my information and to be involved with all the people that I'm involved with, all you have to do is send me an email to wagermethis@gmail.com. Join my Discord. It's all free. Everything on there we talk about, it's all free. Give out plays and there's people from all over the world that give out plays on there, and a lot of times good. You know, so again, yeah, it's yeah, I don't gotta I do this because I like you guys. I do this because I like doing it. I like giving out my information, and I like people to not to. Yeah. So I have a horse racing friend at Oaklawn where I go, and he tells me to bet on horses every now and then, and I just listen to him. I don't know any different, right? I get out there and I'm like, oh, the white one is pretty. Let's bet on that one. That's the way I horse race bet. So I don't know anything about it, even though I go to a horse racing casino that has a horse track. I know nothing about it. So um, but anyway, I just take advice from the guys that do it. They're pretty good too, I think. On their advice, I'm way ahead. If I just counted their advice, I'm way ahead. Um, I've never really looked at it that way. But anyways, guys, thank you for your time. Like I said, best bet tonight, I think, is Bills Jets over 41.5. Um, and I expect Josh Allen to throw for over 200 yards. Those are really close for me as far as best bet goes. I'm just trying to buy in my head where he doesn't throw for over 200 yards. The only way I really can see that is on an injury. Maybe he gets hurt, but outside of that, just the nature of the beast. You get 8, 9 possessions. You have a couple that go 30 yards, a couple that go 50, 80 yards, and then a couple that go 6 yards. It's like just the nature of the beast gets over 200 yards. It's even really terrible quarterbacks get over 200 yards. So I don't know. It's just a weird line to me, and I could be totally wrong. Maybe it gets held to 113. I don't know. So, but again, thank you guys for your time. You guys have a great night. Like I said, I'll be on here on Wednesdays and Mondays. And if you want any more of my information, you can ask me directly on the Discord. Just wagermetthis@gmail.com and I'll send you an invite and you can come on in. Thank you guys for your time. You have a great day.